Hey Mena Warriors, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel where you can expect videos from me on a weekly basis where I talk about everything menopause. I'm here to serve you where you are at in life, and today I'm actually going to be talking about the multiple personalities of menopause. It's not a scientific thing, it's just living it and experiencing and talking to lots and lots of other ladies about it. I actually think we have what we could classify as multiple personalities of menopause. If the phrase is not yet coined, I'm coining it. So if it's the first time you come across me, I help instill belief in you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You might be feeling very disillusioned, discombobulated, unsure of what to do, where to get information, how to progress. What I try and do on my channel is just to give you information that's going to help you support your lifestyle, which should then help you support your menopausal symptoms. I found the system that I work and that I use with the ladies in my community that it's really simple, it gets results. It might not be a magic wand, but it certainly enhances life to the degree that actually I have to say I feel better now through menopause than I did even before menopause. So that's why I like to share what I share on my channel. Give you hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So, you might wake up one day, you might feel full of energy. The other day you might be anxious. The other day you might be in a really bad mood. There just seems to be no set pattern. It is down to our falling hormones, but it's crazy how in one individual we can experience so many different swings of emotion, but also in such a short period of time. You can go from being all calm and zen and beautiful to literally just wanting to tear somebody's throat out within a split second. So in psychology, there are 5 specific personality types, and we're all on various scales of each of them. And I think there's a lot of crossover as well. So one of them is openness. Then you've got conscientiousness, then you've got extroversion, then you've got assertiveness, and then neuroticism. I just sort of like neuroticism, yes. I feel like I'm very neurotic at times. And I think we can see different aspects of ourselves when we consider the official titles, how we perform on a daily basis. I think when life gets really stressy, that's when the roller coaster of emotions seems to be worse. But it can just hit us. It could be, I'm going to go into the 5 different personality types in a moment, just to break them down to sort of the strengths and the weaknesses of each. But I think as I go through them, you're going to see quite a lot of your various aspects of your menopausal experience in them. Just from a symptomatic thing. One moment you might be boiling hot because of a hot flush, the next you might be feeling really chilly. To begin with, I just had hot flushes, but actually more recently I've started to feel chilly too. So I don't know whether that's a progression of it or quite how that's translating. But there are days I don't really feel the cold very much, but there are days when I definitely feel more chilly than I would normally feel. I think also it's really important when you are going through the menopause to have a healthy routine that you can stick to. I know with brain fog and running 2 businesses and about to have a move right across the country, from the far southwest up to the far northwest, as a single person, there's a heck of a lot to do. And when I have faced a day that's really, really busy with all sorts of different sort of things pushing and pulling me in different directions, if I didn't have the system that I have, I would really struggle. I've mentioned it before. I use Trello, which is a free app. I've got a whole tutorial series of it on YouTube. You can check that out. I'll link to it below this video as well. And it's free, and my whole life is planned on it. I also have a healthy structure where I do workouts most days and I eat relatively clean. I also take adaptogen herbs every single day. It's a combination of adaptogen herbs and digestive enzymes. Those help with your hormonal balance. They help you manage your cortisol, so your stress levels, which helps you keep belly fat down, and it also keeps you energized. But also because our gut health is so important for our mental health, it helps promote happy hormones. Exercise in and of itself gobbles up stress hormones, it floods our bodies with endorphins, and it also strengthens our bones and gives us lean muscle tone. It keeps us nice and strong so we don't fall over and break things. So that sort of just on having a system that you can use to support you through menopause, I think is really, really important. It's something that I suggest to everybody who speaks to me who is feeling lost and confused and discombobulated. Have a system. Find the system that works best for you and allow some wiggle room. I liken the menopausal experience to the ebbs and flows of a spring tide with high wind. So the spring tide, the difference between low tide and high tide is much, much greater. And obviously when you add the wind factor into that, so the random outbursts, the mood swings, etc., those waves can get really big and they can be really angry and they can be really powerful. Before menopause, or when you're plain sailing through the menopause, they're a bit more like the neap tides, and that's when there's a much smaller difference between low and high tide. That's how I sort of see it in my mind. I love the water anyway, and it just seems to epitomize it very well. But just know that it's not linear. Some days you are going to have better days than others. You're going to have the swings and the roundabouts, and if you have a system that supports your health and it's a routine, you can plug into the routine. It doesn't take any brain power. You just follow the system. That's what I do. It's a habit and I don't have to think about it. I wake up in the morning. What workout am I doing? Great, do the workout. I drink lots of water, always got water on the go. I wear lots of layers that can quickly strip off for hot flushes. And I'm lucky, I work for myself, so it's not so, I have the joy of not having to wear office clothes or be in a stuffy office or an air-conditioned office. But when you have a system that supports you, it makes the whole menopausal journey so much easier. So if you've not got a system already that works, set one up for yourself. If you're struggling to know how to start to set up a system, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you. Please message me and I'll have a chat with you. So firstly, during menopause, obviously we're changing physically, we're getting more wrinkly, our skin's starting to sag, everything's moving south. It's harder to stay toned and strong. And the physical stuff aside, inside there is this battle going on. It might be a loss of identity. You become invisible, I think, as you start to go through middle age and beyond. And it can be quite a strange old time to nestle into that period of your life. I say if you're feeling a little bit isolated and a little bit lost and you're not entirely sure of who you are anymore, find people in a similar situation to you. People have a real go at social media, but they're just following the wrong people. I can honestly say I've met some amazing people through social media, most of whom are you watching this. You're at my similar stage of life. We share similar values. We have similar boundaries. And when you don't need to see each other in person. Yes, it's lovely to be able to do that, but don't let the fact that it's through a screen be something to stop you. There are so many amazing conversations that you can have with a community, and if you're not finding the right people, start looking under, like, I don't know, menopause support hashtags, menopause symptom hashtags, menopause relief hashtags, that sort of thing. And then you're going to start to find people who are similar to you and have similar values and boundaries and in a similar period of life, so that you can identify with those people. It's horrible when you're feeling lost and lonely, and you don't need to feel lost and lonely. There's loads of us out here, and we're all open, and we want to be able to embrace you and sort of welcome you in to our friendship circles too. So please, please, please never ever feel isolated or alone. So I'm going to go through them. Extroversion I'm going to start with. Extroversion is about sort of being the personality type who falls into extroversion is going to be more sociable, they're going to be more talkative, they're going to be assertive, they're more likely to like parties, maybe be the center of attention. They might always want the lead role in the operatic performances, etc., etc. But you might find that as you're going through the menopause, you start to back off from that. You just don't want to be at the parties anymore. You just can't be bothered. You can't be bothered to be sociable anymore. You can't be bothered to talk to people. And that is totally normal. I think, particularly having gone through COVID and the 2 lockdowns, a lot of people who enjoy talking to others have actually become quite remote. And I would call myself an extroverted introvert. I am an INFJ, if you know the Myers-Briggs personality type. I'm definitely more introverted than extroverted. You might think otherwise, but myself, you know, when I'm out on social media, when I'm doing videos, I would never have thought that I would be doing videos a couple of years ago. It used to scare the living daylights out of me. I actually really enjoy it. I don't know, I just think it's authentic. It's a really nice, fun way of communicating stuff with people and helping people. But once I'm not on social media, I like my quiet time. I need my space. And you might find that having been somebody who's quite chatty and ebullient, you just can't be bothered anymore. You just want to shut the curtains, close the door, and have some time to yourself. And that's normal. I think also it's very easy to label yourself as, well, I'm this, but I'm not that anymore. I used to be this and I'm not that anymore. We change, we evolve. And I think partly through menopause, it can be really freeing. Certainly I was chatting to somebody yesterday, and we're both single women, and we were both in our 50s, and saying how nice it is that the fact that if somebody doesn't like me, I don't care. I don't care if I go out without makeup on. I don't care if my clothes don't match, or my knickers are different to my bra. I just don't care. If somebody doesn't like it, well, stuff it. I really don't care. Whereas when you're younger, you do. I wish we could give our wisdom to the younger brigade, because I think they'd enjoy youth so much more. So yeah, that essentially extroversion is somebody who's very talkative, very sociable, and you can go to the opposite extremes of that through the menopause, and it's often the menopause which is when you're going to notice these things changing. Please don't think there's anything wrong with you. There's not. Next one I'd talk about is agreeableness. People who are agreeable or fall within that category are very caring. They're very trusting. They quite like fun, but it's always tempered with a foundation of care. Now, I think I fall within the agreeableness one to a degree, because the reason I'm saying that is you might find that you've actually become a bit of a rebel, and actually, yeah, you still enjoy helping people, but it's just like, well, hang on a minute, I actually want to spend some time on myself too. I see that as my inner rebel coming out. I think it's good that we all take care of ourselves. There are times when that agreeableness is just like, no, I just want to be a rebel. And I think it can make you more adventurous as well. I can definitely feel adventure is pulling at me. I sort of want to break that mold. So yeah, you might be suddenly, you liked helping and you like being the calm one and the sensible one, and now you're just thinking, nope, stop that. Get me my boutique knickers on, and I'm going out there. I'm going to be a rebel. Next one is openness, and people who fall within the personality trait of openness, they are quite creative. They have a broad range of interests. They're very curious about the world. They're eager to meet new people and learn new things. They tend to be more creative, and people low in openness tend to be more abstract thinking, more traditional, less spontaneous, I would say. You'll find a lot of artistic people fall within the openness personality trait. And so you might find that you were very creative and now you're just lacking motivation. You just can't be bothered. You're thinking, yeah, I love art, but I actually can't be bothered to go and get the paints out. Or, yeah, I love whatever it is, but I just can't be bothered to do it. You're sort of lacking that motivation. When you fall in within the openness personality trait, you rely upon that, getting into that flow. And when that flow is no longer there, it's just like, well, come on. We're sort of like clicking the boiler. You know, when your boiler runs out of oil or something and you're clicking it to start and it just won't start. You might feel a bit like that if you fall within the openness trait. You're trying to push the button on, but nothing's firing. Again, this is totally normal. Just maybe use your creativity in a different way. Maybe use it to read things, because you probably still got a passion for learning or an interest in learning. I think if you love learning stuff, that never goes away. But maybe learn in a different format. Maybe change from reading to audiobooks. If you can't be bothered, just listen to something instead. Next is conscientiousness. Conscientious people are very organized. They're deep thinkers. They tend to be very goal orientated, so they sort of work out the whole thing before they even start. They need to know where they're going and how they're going to get there. You might find that you at one point was super conscientious, super organized, and now you can't even see what the end goal is. You can't even see the next step ahead because of the brain fog, because of the confusion that just comes with being menopausal. You might be having moody outbursts because of your frustration at not being able to see things through as you once did. You know, that clarity goes. And it can be a real sense of frustration because you're struggling to finish tasks that you used to so easily complete without even a second thought, and now it's this big hurdle. And then that can have a knock-on impact on your confidence as well, when you know you're organized. And when I worked in the corporate world, I used to pretty much run an office of nearly 90 people. I knew who everyone was. I knew exactly what they were doing. I knew where they were going, what their plans were for that weekend, everything. I had to drive into work, and on my drive in, my brain was just like, right, today I've got to do that. And I felt like I was so organized. Now, that's why I use systems. I have not got that mental capacity anymore. And it used to frustrate me. Now I try and give it grace, because there's no point in battling it. Once you start to battle it, that takes up even more energy. So I rely on Trello, I rely on my diary, and I rely on reminders on my phone. And I've got my diary calendar, and I've got my Google Calendar. They all ping, everything that's digital pings at me. And it stops me worrying that I'm going to miss something important, but it also frees up brain space, and it also doesn't dent my confidence so much, because I'm sort of giving myself grace. It is the menopause. I have got brain fog. It probably will get better at some point. If I'm tired, or if I've not been eating very well the day before, or if I've had alcohol, it's a lot worse the next day. So just bear that in mind as well. What we put through our mouth makes a massive difference to how we respond symptom-wise to menopause. The last one is neuroticism. This is a trait characterized by sadness, moodiness, general low mood before menopause. So somebody who tends to see the glass half empty rather than the glass half full, or somebody who just finds it really hard to lift themselves out of that rut when they feel in the rut. It can be, you know, you might be more easily irritable when you fall within the neurotic or neuroticism personality trait. You struggle to manage stress more effectively. You might get upset more easily. And as you go through the menopause, that is likely to exacerbate those problems. So instead of feeling a little bit ratty, you might be feeling anxious. Instead of feeling anxious, you might be having panic attacks. Instead of getting on and doing the stuff, even though you really don't feel like it, you freeze, and you almost get to the stage where you don't want to leave the house. The neuroticism personality trait is the most fragile, I would say, of all those traits through menopause, because menopause just exacerbates all those negative things that you might be struggling with already. It's down to our falling estrogen, and sort of our up and down hormones, particularly in perimenopause. There are no magic pills, unfortunately, apart from the ones I've mentioned already, which I suggest everybody does. If you're not yet on with an exercise routine, if you're not yet using food as fuel, as tempting as it is, try not to numb emotions with alcohol. And I know at the end of the day, you just think, I just don't care. I'm too tired to not want to have a glass of wine or beer or whatever it might be. But it does affect your sleep, and it does have a depressive effect on how you feel the next day. It's likely to make hot flushes a lot worse. It's likely to make night sweats worse, and your mood is going to be more irritable. So while in the evening you might really feel like a glass of wine or a bottle of beer or a couple or a half bottle or whatever it might be, just beware of the payoff. Because if you can, instead of focus on how you're really wanting that glass of wine in the evening, focus on how proud you're going to feel of yourself in the morning, when you're going to have a clearer head, you're going to feel a lighter mood because you haven't got the depressive effect of alcohol. You're going to have slept better, which is meaning your cravings are not going to be as bad. So you're not going to be reaching for the biscuits and the crisps and the breads and that sort of thing, because when you sleep badly, our brain kind of it wants the fast energy. It also affects our hunger hormones and our satiety hormones. It affects how our hormones are relating to each other on a daily basis. So do really think carefully about hitting the bottle at the end of the day. It does take some willpower, I know, because I love a drink, and I think it's fun. I enjoy wine, I enjoy beer, I enjoy whiskey. At the moment, because I've got so much on my plate, I am avoiding it. I'm having sparkling water in the evening, and I have a glass of kombucha as well. And I'm not going to lie, every evening it's just like, oh, should I just have a glass tonight? And it's just like, no, because I know if I have a glass tonight, what's stopping me having a glass tomorrow night? So I'm at the moment, with everything going on, I'm trying to, well, I'm committing to not drinking at the moment. It's not easy, but it normally lasts through a sort of 30-minute window, and after that I can get beyond it. If I can pour a glass of sparkling water and also get myself a kombucha, that tends to help with the craving. And I know that the longer you go without a glass of something or a bottle of something, the easier it is, and then eventually you stop even thinking about it. I had gone for about 3, 4, 5 months without drinking, and then I started again just because there were various social things and celebrations happening again, and I've sort of gone back to day one again. I've been teetotal for about 5 or 6 days now. I don't actually count it when I go teetotal, because I don't want that limitation or restriction. I just start. I don't wait for a Monday. I just start on the day I feel like starting, and then I just try and forget about it rather than thinking about it too much. I just try and just put it into the background. So I couldn't tell you actually how long I have not been drinking alcohol for this time around, but just know that the swings and the ebbs and the flows are going to be completely normal through menopause. There are things that you can do to help support yourself. I've already mentioned those today. If you need any help getting started, whether you need help with your, what to eat, when, you're sort of balancing your macros, healthy snack ideas, whether you actually need some proper support with nutrition, whether you have got inflammatory bowel disease, or you've noticed differences in your gut health, I can help with that as well. If you want to get on top of your health and fitness, your sort of exercise regime, let me know. I've got masses of workouts that I can suggest to you to do. If you want the information on the adaptogen herbs and the digestive enzymes that I drink every day, again, just message me for anything that you think I might be able to help with, even, down to just friendship and community around menopause. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Hang on in there, give yourself grace. Everybody's going through the same thing. You are not alone, and you are not the odd one out. We are all fighting our own little battles. So as always, thank you so much for your company today. I appreciate the time you've given me. Make sure to click the subscribe button if you haven't done already, to make sure you don't miss out on future videos. And if you're watching this on Instagram, give it a follow, and I show up every week for these. So if you've got anything you want me to discuss in the future, drop me a message and I'll make sure to add it to the list. Take good care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon.